Ladies and gentlemen, we are now getting ready to embark on the main session of the Regional Nile Day celebrations. We're also expecting our honorable ministers in charge of water affairs of the Nile Basin to be joining us. The Regional Nile Day celebrations are held annually to remind us, the basin states and the citizens and friends of the Nile, on the need for cooperation, the sustainable management and development of the shared Nile Basin water resources. As you have seen already, we are holding this virtually, and this is the first of its kind. We'll see how it goes, but already from the participation, we can see that a number of people are attending from all over the world. Probably if it had been physical, maybe some of us would not have been able to participate. But we do note that we are in this period where we have challenges that we cannot meet physically, but we do hope that all of the same we shall go ahead and celebrate this event. From the program, we have quite a number of events scheduled. The Regional Nile Day celebrations have been organized under 3 segments. So I will be moderating this first segment. My name is Dr. Kalisti Ndimugaya from Ministry of Water and Environment in Uganda. I will take you through the session up to around 20 past midday. And then after that, we shall have another segment which will be handled by another facilitator. I'm not sure as to whether the honorary ministers have joined. I do hope that they have joined. In terms of the time, we have limited time, so we shall try to keep to the schedule. The program will have a number of speeches. We shall have remarks from the Nile Basin Discourse. The chairperson of the Nile Basin Discourse will give us his remarks. We shall have remarks from the Executive Director of the Nile Basin Initiative. Then after that, we shall have remarks from representatives of the development partners, 2 of them. And then we shall have some speeches from the Nile Council of Ministers. As I've mentioned, we have 3 segments, so some ministers will be speaking in the subsequent segments, so we shall not invite them to speak in this segment because they have certain functions to perform in the other 2 segments. Then we shall have a speech from the host NileCom member. We'll also invite the guest of honor to deliver his speech. And then we shall end with some additional virtual exhibitions. With this, I would like to once again thank all of you for participating in this event. I know it is not easy. For those of you who are participating in the same venue, I do hope that you are making sure that you keep social distance as you put on your masks. I'm alone in my room, so that's why I'm not putting on any mask. So don't copy my example if you are many in one room. I want to encourage you to keep safe so that this event doesn't become a disaster for some of us. And I imagine the situation is the same in all our Nile Basin countries. About the setup of the Nile Basin Initiative, we have a regional secretariat based here in Entebbe in Uganda, but also we have 2 centers, one center based in Kigali, another one based in Addis Ababa. So right now we are going to get a virtual tour of the Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat in Entebbe. Over to you, Jane.
Thank you, Dr. Kalist, Master of Ceremony, for today's event. Hello, Nile Basin citizens. Good morning, everyone. And happy Nile Day to you and to you, friends of the Nile. Please allow me, on behalf of the Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat, invite you to a virtual tour of the Secretariat premises. You are most welcome.
Morning. Welcome to the home of the Nile Basin citizens in the pleasant city of Entebbe in Uganda. located on the shores of the Great Lake Victoria. We are very happy in our home. Thanks for the generosity of the government and the people of the Republic of Uganda.
The NBI logo can be interpreted as the spirit of unity in the Nile Basin, showing the Nile winding between a field of green on the left, symbolizing the lush vegetation of the upstream countries, with a field of light green on the right, symbolizing the more arid lands of the downstream countries. On the right-hand side is the Nile Basin Initiative's name in both English and French, the two dominant languages of the region. The physical library houses more than 5,000 knowledge products, and out of these, 2,000 have been generated by the Nile Basin Initiative. The computer lab is where we do training for our stakeholders from the member states, and here we do training on the Nile Basin Decision Support System, a world-class scientific tool that has been developed by the Nile Basin Initiative and member states. We also do modeling, we train in climate change, GIS, as well as remote sensing. The Water Resources Management block is where the technical team sits. The archives is a place we store all our historical knowledge since Nile, all historical knowledge relating to Nile Corporation. The meeting rooms are fitted with video conferencing facilities, and so this has made it possible for us to work even during this COVID pandemic. One of the 6 goals of the Nile Basin Initiative is to do with environmental sustainability, and as you can see, the area is one of the things that we really do here is to make sure we keep the area green, planting trees, and this has been done right from the time this office was opened, with the ministers in charge of water affairs and development partners coming together to plant some trees that you see us that we enjoy until today. The gazebo is where we gather as staff for our social tea, and this is every Friday. And here we do share updates about our work, but also we chat about life and family. This brings us to the end of the virtual tour of the NBI Secretariat. I would now like to invite you to enjoy the rest of the day's activities.
Thank you very much, Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat team, for taking us through this tour. Indeed, for those of you participants who have not visited Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat, when you happen to come to Uganda, I want to encourage you to come over and visit your home. The Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat is the home of the Nile Basin It is the home of cooperation, and when you visit, you'll actually be going to your own home. So I hope you have seen what is offered there, the facilities that are there that enable the team at the Secretariat to support the basin countries. As you also probably are aware, the leadership of the Nile Basin Initiative is headed by the Council of Ministers in charge of water affairs. So I would like to welcome the honorary ministers present here to this Regional Nile Day celebrations. The ministers are supported by the Nile Technical Advisory Committee, representing all the Nile Basin countries. I also would like to invite and welcome the Nile Basin Technical Advisory Committee members. The Nile Basin is supported by the development partners who are present on this session. Welcome. We, of course, have the Executive Director of the Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat, the head of the ENTRO, the head of NERSAP, and, of course, the staff of the Nile Basin Initiative, and all Basin State citizens and friends of the Nile. I do hope that you'll enjoy these celebrations. Welcome and thank you for joining this event. I had told you earlier that we'll be having a speech from the chairperson of the board of the Nile Basin Discourse. I'm told he's represented by the vice chair of the board, Mr. Donald Kasongi. So I take this opportunity to invite him to make his remarks on behalf of the Nile Basin Discourse. Over to you, Vice Chair, Board.
Thank you very much, Calist. Friends, allow me to read the statement from NBD Network on this Nile Day, February 22nd, 2021, with the theme, Rethinking Regional Investments in the Nile Basin, hosted in Entebbe, Uganda. I'm Donald Kasongi. I'm Secretary General of the Board of the Nile Basin Discourse. I'll be reading this statement on behalf of Professor Mwawia Shaddad, the board chairperson who could not manage to join. Honorable NileCom Chair, honorable members of the Nile Council of Ministers, honorable Minister of the Republic of Rwanda, Nile TAC Chair and members, members of the diplomatic corps present, representative of development partners, NBI Executive Director and NBI staff, Nile Basin Discourse Network members, and particularly Uganda NDF members, all stakeholders, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Dear citizens of the Nile, greetings and happy Nile 2021. On behalf of the Nile Basin Discourse and on my behalf, allow me to express my deep pleasure of being part of the celebrations of the Regional Nile Day of February 22nd, 2021. I say thank you to NBI and to the Republic of Uganda for hosting this historical virtual regional day. I say thank you to the government of the Nile riparian states and non-state actors. Allow me to take this opportunity also to thank the different development partners for their support, particularly the World Bank, SIWA, European Union, GIZ, SIWI, Coca-Cola Foundation, to mention a few, for their support that has added and continued to add value to our success in empowering together the Nile Basin citizens through development. During the period between 1999 and 2021, the journey has been long and continues to ensure that the region of NBI's establishment achieves its envisaged goals. Hence, the Nile Basin Discourse considers this Nile Day as a great opportunity and an outreach to all stakeholders to be informed of benefits of cooperation and of development to reduce poverty through investments. Citizens can reflect on the achievements from the Nile to the Nile and beyond the Nile. The Beyond Nile reflection is in line with today's theme, rethinking regional investments in the Nile Basin. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we celebrate this Nile Day 2021 amid COVID-19 pandemic, which has greatly impacted on our stakeholders in the Nile riparian states. The current situation draws lessons from the Nile subsidiary action plans and programs and all development actors on how to rethink innovative ways of planning for and implementing investment programs. Hence, today's theme comes at the right time as it links with the desire to shape the way regional investments are planned and implemented for sustainable impact. The Nile Basin Discourse has been playing and continues to play a vital role in bringing together grassroots communities across the basin to play their role and participate actively in regional and transboundary programs, and especially investment projects and policies that enhance cooperation on the shared waters of the Nile. The theme reminds us that investments ought to fit and respond to the community needs, priorities in order to get or gain buy-in on all programs and projects. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, civil society fosters grassroots voices and remains the key driver of change in ensuring that investments inclusively reach and benefit all through participatory, constructive, and effective stakeholder dialogue platforms. Therefore, the objective of today's Nile celebrations is in line with the current 5-year Nile Basin Discourse Strategy of 2018-2022, which has the theme Inclusive Awareness and Empowerment. Ladies and gentlemen, in recognition of the benefits to be gained through the cooperative agenda that promotes sustainable development interventions in the Nile region, the Nile Basin Initiative and the Nile Basin Discourse are renewing and signing a memorandum of understanding that is effective for 5 years from 2021 to 2025. The stipulated understanding intends to stimulate and facilitate the active partnership. It also reaffirms the collective responsibility and common goal of both parties to work towards improving the livelihoods of the people of River Nile Basin. I would like to emphasize that NBD is committed to the partnership and to continue working in hand with NBI as it has been. And I reiterate that this will continue to ensure that the current strategic partnership yields expected benefits to the Nile Basin citizens, bearing in mind that citizens have to play their role that enhances ownership. Therefore, as I conclude my speech, I wish to reiterate that NBD Network is ready to work and will continue to work closely with the NBI centers, governments of the Nile Basin, and other development partners to foster cooperation and support investment initiatives that lead to inclusive and sustainable development of citizens of the Nile. Thank you all. One Nile, one family. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Nile Basin Discourse, for your speech. We do appreciate the collaboration you have had with the Nile Basin Initiative, and also in ensuring that the voices of the basin communities are brought into the discussions around the cooperation on the shared Nile Basin water resources. And we do appreciate the MOU that you are going to sign with NBI for the next 5 years. And to us, this is a commitment that you are making to cooperation and also ensuring that you work with NBI in a more cordial and organized manner. Thank you very much again. We do appreciate it. I want to take this opportunity to invite the Executive Director of the Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat. You are all aware that the theme for this Nile Day is rethinking regional investments in the Nile Basin. And I hope that as the ED speaks, he will clearly highlight why we need to move this direction and why investments is very important. So, Professor Saifuddin Hamad Abdallah, who has been in Nile Basin for a long time as a member of TAC, Technical Advisory Committee, of course also a former Minister of Water in Sudan, and currently the Executive Director of the Nile Basin Initiative. I do welcome you to speak to us and share with us what you have as a message from the Secretariat. Over to you, Professor.
Thank you, Dr. Callist. Honorable Dr. Jane Dark, NILCOM Chair, NILCOM members, members of the Diplomatic Corps, NILTAC members, representatives of the development partners, representatives of the Nile Basin Discourse, management and staff of MBI, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, Assalamu alaikum, and happy Nile Day to all of you. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome you to the Nile Day of 2021. The Nile Day, 22nd February, is a special day on the MBI calendar and history, as it was on such a day in 1999 in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, that the MBI was formed by member states represented by the ministers in charge of water affairs. The MBI was established at the regional partnership of riparian states of the River Nile and aimed at promoting cooperative and sustainable management and development of the common Nile Basin water resources. The Nile Basin Initiative is guided by an agreed upon shared vision objective, which states that to achieve sustainable socio-economic development through the equitable utilization and benefit from the common Nile Basin water resources. It is now 22 years since MBI was formed, and great strides have been made towards realization of the shared vision. Through the Nile Basin Initiative, riparian countries of the River Nile Basin made a statement to the rest of the world of their intention to cooperate for peace and prosperity based on the common Nile Basin water resources, dispelling the notion that competition for water would be a source of conflict and cause of war. The level of confidence and trust among the Nile Basin Initiative member states is demonstrated by the spectrum of soft and tangible joint actions in the basin. The perceptions and policies is demonstrated by the spectrum. The perceptions and policies of transboundary water resources are being shaped and informed by science on facts and figures. Respected guests, during the course of the Nile Basin Initiative, capacity for sustainable water resources management and development has been greatly improved among the Nile Basin countries. There is a comparable level of capacity in transboundary water resources management for countries to plan, to negotiate jointly, and manage, develop the common water, Nile Basin water resources. This capacity is in the whole range of integrated water resources management and has been built over the last 22 years. A cadre of competent professionals who have benefited and contributed to the transboundary water management of the Nile Basin has established and are steering the water affairs of their countries. Transboundary water management has been elevated as a recognized standalone department in most of the countries. This elevated institutionalization of the transboundary function provides an opportunity for dedicated financing and sustainability of the transboundary considerations in the national planning and development. Ultimately, this breeds hope of wise and sustainable utilization of the common water resources among the recipients. Respected guests, this year's Nile Day is organized under the theme Rethinking Regional Investments in the Nile Basin. This is motivated by the need to realize transformative investments on the ground that can address the basin challenges. The Nile Basin Initiative has leveraged investments worth more than $6.5 billion of USD. Of these investments, worth more than $1.3 billion have progressed to implementation. These are country-identified projects that have been screened for regional relevance and considered to be transformative in the various water-related sectors. The consolidated benefits per country are tracked and have been documented by MBI. These include increased access to portable water, increased access to electricity, restoration of degraded catchments, and catalysts of various social economic development initiatives among stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the progress made by MBI in promoting cooperative transboundary water resources management and development, the challenges are still prevalent despite the vast untapped potential in the various water domains. The potential includes the population that can be skilled to harness the water resources for the transformation of the region. Expansive arable land that can exclusively feed the basin population and be a food basket for the continent and export surplus food to the rest of the world. On the energy dimension, the hydropower potential is more than 20 gigawatts. However, less than 20% of the potential is tapped in the region. Yet, majority of population have no access to electricity. Fellow celebrants, I wish to encourage you to do your part at whatever level or position to promote transformation of our region for a better future. The opportunities are vast. The capacity to harness them is limited. This can only change if all stakeholders did a bit more on their parts to realize a grand whole. With those remarks, I wish to thank you all for your kind attention, and also wish to thank the government and the people of Uganda for hosting this valuable event, and wish you happy celebrations. Finally, God bless your endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Edie, for those very, very interesting words. You have indeed recapped on the progress of Nile cooperation, and also we have highlighted clearly why this theme is befitting for 2021, where we now need to look into regional investments as we promote cooperation of on the Nile. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nile Basin Initiative wouldn't have reached this level without the support of the development partners. We have many development partners that are supporting the programs in the basin, and now we have the opportunity to hear from two of these partners representing all the other partners. It is now my honor and pleasure to invite Regina Praf Darar, Sector Leader, World Bank in Nairobi, to give her remarks. Over to you, World Bank, for your remarks on behalf of the other development partners.
So my name is Ragini Dalal, and I am the Sector Leader for Sustainable Development for the World Bank out of Nairobi. Excellencies, honorable ministers, ambassadors, permanent secretaries, heads of regional Nile institutions, Nile Basin Discourse and other Nile stakeholders, fellow development partners, and friends of the Nile. It is an honor to be with you here today for this year's Nile Day, with its focus on rethinking regional investments in the Nile Basin. The World Bank is delighted and privileged to have been invited, and we would like to thank the government of Uganda for hosting this year's first ever virtual event. The Nile Day is an opportunity to take stock of progress of Nile cooperation, as well as to look forward. We believe there is a lot that has been achieved, especially if we take a long-term perspective. The basin countries have moved from a situation in which little cooperation took place some 20 years ago to a situation where joint capacity building, joint development of knowledge, and joint investments now take place. As we speak now, the World Bank is finalizing the preparation of new support entitled Nile Cooperation for Climate Resilience to the Nile Basin Initiative, which will also include support to the Lake Victoria Basin Commission and the Nile Basin Discourse. This engagement, which has been possible with funding from Siwa Trust Fund, is a continuation of the bank's ongoing efforts to further the mechanism for cooperation to manage Nile resources. Why is it important to cooperate over the Nile, one may ask? Unilateral development often leads to lost development opportunities, and countries risk losing the chance to look for ways to make basin development beneficial for all riparian countries. And why is it important to cooperate over the Nile, one may ask? However, if countries work together in a win-win future is possible. Apologies, I'm having a hard time reading this with the screen. How, you may ask? By sharing information, by forging strong professional relationships, and importantly, by looking at regional investments for transformation, which is the focus of today's Nile Day. By investing in joint infrastructure that benefits more than one actor, the region can focus on collective actions and shared benefits. The World Bank believes that when we work together, we become stronger. It was on this premise that the World Bank began investing in countries of this region to cooperatively and jointly develop their shared water resources. This was almost 20 years ago and backed by a committed group of development partners, many of whom are connected today. Today, we are still supporting Nile countries by investing in information and infrastructure, supporting the technical track of the Nile Basin Initiative, and supporting capacity building on joint management of shared water resources. In this regard, I'm happy to note that the upcoming Nile Cooperation Project support by the World Bank seeks to promote evidence-based investment planning in the basin through enhanced availability and use of information services, provision of more platforms for cooperation, and intense capacity strengthening programs. However, Nile countries face significant challenges. It is critical to prioritize effective water resources management and planning to sustainably develop Nile water resources. Cooperative use of Nile water resources can become a source of new opportunity to increase development benefits and enhance the prosperity of all Nile citizens. The gathering here today of the Nile countries is yet another sign of your commitment to find and pursue collaborative opportunities. The presence of stakeholders from inside and outside of the basin is recognition of the importance of these Nile issues and of support for the Nile countries in finding ways forward. In less than 2 decades, the Nile countries have transitioned from having little dialogue or collaboration on water resources to an environment with active transboundary information sharing, regional norms and processes to share information, joint prioritization, planning, and implementation of investment projects. The NBI processes have led to a pipeline of nearly $6 billion of investment projects, with nearly $1.5 billion of that total under implementation. For example, projects such as the Rusumo Falls Hydroelectric Project, which is financed by the World Bank and other partners, will generate power for Burundi, Rwanda, and Tanzania. NBI helps the countries to prepare and is helping countries implement the project, proving that Nile waters really are a gateway of regional cooperation. Today, Nile ministers are routinely approving water resources management and development projects prepared by the NBI, demonstrating cooperative planning of projects of regional significance, and instilling norms that lead to achieving economies of scale, harnessing synergies, and enhancing regional peace and security. Your successful collaboration and investments have enhanced the livelihoods of millions of poor, women, and disadvantaged of the region. We recognize that progress is not linear, as transboundary issues rarely are. Experiences in other shared river basins show that building strong cooperation often takes many decades, with challenges along the way. The World Bank, together with development partners, is supporting the NBI as it provides a neutral forum for dialogue among the parties sharing the Nile waters. We encourage the Nile countries to continue to strive for all-inclusive cooperation and to use the NBI and other cooperation mechanisms to help address the development challenges of all the riparian states. The impressive Nile River has existed and helped people around it thrive for millennia, and as we gather here today, I hope the commitment to cooperation can extend thus far into the future to continue to transform the lives of its people. We congratulate you on your progress made to date, and we look forward to supporting you towards even more positive results from increased cooperation in the years to come. We wish you excellent deliberations today, and thank you for allowing the World Bank to partner with you in this effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the World Bank, for speaking to us. We do appreciate the support you have been giving to us over the years, and we do hope that we'll continue working with you to move the Nile cooperation forward. We thank you so much, and also we thank you for coordinating other development partners that have supported us through the programs that you have put in place. I would like now to invite His Excellency Matthias Shoa, the German's ambassador to Uganda. Germany is again one of the key development partners supporting the Nile Basin Initiative, and it is now my honor and pleasure to invite the ambassador to speak to us. Over to you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you all. Honorable members of the Nile Council of Ministers, Executive Director of the Nile Basin Initiative, distinguished members of the Nile Technical Advisory Committee, ladies and gentlemen, friends of the Nile. It is a great pleasure for me to join you in the celebration of the Regional Nile Day 2021. Today is a day to reflect on the achievements and a day to reconfirm the commitment to build an even stronger cooperation in the Nile Basin. Germany, alongside with other partners, has supported the journey towards a deeper cooperation right from the beginning. we can appreciate very well how far the Nile cooperation has come during the past 22 years, and we congratulate you on this success. Ladies and gentlemen, deepened cooperation around water is more needed than ever in the world and in the Nile Basin. Water consumptive uses are increasing dramatically. Pollution is rising almost everywhere, and climate change is presenting us with more and more threats. River basins all over the world have been facing almost existential challenges, but nowhere are the challenges as pressing as in the Nile River Basin. Around 500 million people currently live in all the 11 riparian countries. This figure is projected to double in just one generation, putting countries under high pressure to develop their economies and secure the livelihoods of their people. This directly translates into increased pressure and competition around the shared resource of the Nile, as countries move to secure and develop the water resources for water supply, power generation, and irrigation. This brings us to the topic of today's Nile Day celebration, rethinking investments in the Nile. Please allow me to add 3 reflections to this topic, related to the 3 highlights of today's program: the Ministerial Roundtable on Investments, the launch of the 2nd State of Basin Report, and the launch of the 6th Nile Basin Development Forum. I will relate to these 3 well-known main ingredients of successful basin cooperation, also known as the 3 I's: investments, information, and institutions. To start with the topic of investment, rethinking investments is the topic of the Nile Basin Development Forum. What could that mean? During the first meeting of the Nile Basin Heads of State and Government in Entebbe 2018, they agreed on the importance of a transformative agenda around economic cooperation and development. Increased economic integration across the basin will build the trust and confidence required for cooperative management of the Nile as a shared resource. Developing of such a cooperative investment mechanism for a water, energy, and food-secure future would assist the riparian countries to enhance their water management system. It would also help adapt to increased water stress, resulting from both future climate change and from ongoing developments across the basin. We, the German federal government, and with us many other cooperation partners, recognize these efforts. We are ready to continue to engage around such approaches jointly, developed by all the riparians. For all of this, information is essential. Shared information that ensures all riparians have a joint understanding of the resources and the need for action. For this reason, today, the 2nd State of the Basin report is being launched, a report that has been jointly developed by the riparian countries. We commend you on this milestone and are happy to note that the German government with the European Union were able to support this endeavor. Finally, investments can only move ahead without inducing conflicts if there are effective institutions in place. These institutions enable countries to move in a consensual manner and resolve disputes that may arise on the way. Again, this is needed more than ever, as the ongoing negotiations around the GERD have highlighted. But institutions are built around a common, shared vision for the basin's future. This leads us to today's launch of the 6th Nile Basin Development Forum, which we are happy to be supporting alongside the European Union and the World Bank. The forum stands in a long tradition of the Nile 2000 conferences. During these conferences, the riparian states developed their shared vision for the basin and for the subsequent foundation of a transitional institution, the NBI, in 1999. And with the NBI, the regular dialogue between governments and the basin's community of water users and experts was institutionalized as the triannual Nile Basin Development Forum, a platform to openly discuss challenges and possible directions for the next years, even to rethink such issues as this year's motto insinuates. Rethinking the future in this regard, the Federal Foreign Office also attaches great importance to our support for hydro diplomacy in the Nile Basin, in particular to the country's efforts, amongst others led by the Nile Council of Ministers, to find solutions to open and contentious issues that remain in order to fully achieve the vision of the cooperation on the Nile. Solutions that can be agreed on and carried forward jointly by all the basin riparians. Ladies and gentlemen, we, the German federal government, and with us many other international partners, congratulate you on the efforts and successes achieved over the past 22 years. We stand ready to continue our support to the Nile cooperation process, which is central to the economic development, regional integration, as well as peace and stability in Africa. Let me close by thanking the government of Uganda for hosting the Nile Day, the government of Ethiopia for hosting the Nile Basin Development Forum, and of course the NBI for preparing these two events. I wish all participants lively, constructive, and forward-looking debates over the coming weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Ambassador. We have now listened to our development partners. As I mentioned to you earlier, the governance of the Nile Basin Initiative is led by the ministers in charge of water affairs of the Nile Basin countries, and these are called Nile Council of Ministers. We'll be hearing from them on behalf of their countries to give us their messages. As we also mentioned to you that some of the ministers will be speaking in the other two sessions that will come after this first session. So we shall not invite them to speak during this session. We shall only invite a few countries to speak. But I want to recognize the presence of all the Nile Council of Ministers that are attending this session. We'll wait to hear from them in a subsequent session. But for now, I'm told we have currently the Minister of South Sudan, the Nile member for South Sudan. Maybe let's now move on to South Sudan and we hear from the Honorary Minister in charge of water affairs of South Sudan. Honorary Minister, if you're online, can you speak to us?
Thank you very much, Comrade Chair. Honorable members of the Nile Council of Ministers, NileCom, the Technical Advisory Committee, TAC members, the Executive Director of Nile Basin Secretariat, and the Nile Basin staff, the members of Diplomatic Corps, the representative of development partner and donor agencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, greeting to you all. Good morning. On behalf of the government of South Sudan, and on my own behalf, I would like to thank the government of the Republic of Uganda for accepting to host this annual 15th anniversary of Nile Day celebration at this critical moment of the global corona pandemic. This is a good move and a good example for all of us to follow in managing our affairs, even at the most. I would like also to thank the honorable members of the NileCom for showing up for this very important celebration of our shared history of Nile Basin Initiative. I would also thank the Executive Director and the entire staff of the Secretariat for their tireless work for organizing this year's Nile Day celebration. I work for organization in this year. I also thank our development partner and donors agencies for their continuous support to the Nile Basin, for providing financial and moral support for it to fulfill its mandate of providing the much needed service to our citizens. Distinguished guests, NILECOM members, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to underline and highlight two important points in regard to our obligation in promoting Nile Basin Initiative. The second point I would like to bring to your attention, honorable ministers, is the issues of ratification of the Cooperative Framework Agreement. This process of the ratification was going on smoothly, but following the signing of the revitalized peace agreement, which called for restructuring of our legislative assembly, the process has to be temporarily be held out. Once the new parliament is instituted, which is ongoing, the process will take place smoothly. Honorable NILECOM members, ladies and gentlemen, in regard to the theme of this year's celebration, which reads Rethinking Regional Investment in the Basin, I would like to say that for us to succeed in this plan, we need to put in place this dream is successfully implemented basin-wide. The first mechanism that needed to be considered is that the basin countries with the Nile Basin Initiative together should have comprehensive understanding of potential issues in the basin. Projects are prepared for there are emergent issues which require our complete attention. The challenges to the regional investment should be known and understood by every citizen. This understanding will help us to formulate a regional investment plan which will not run into difficulties because of challenges in country X or in country Z. The second point I want to underline here is that the planning and implementation of this investment plan should be collectively and comprehensively. This means that should include all types of stakeholders and interest groups. Stakeholders such as civil society organizations, academic, private sector, and interest groups should be in the front line in this process. I've noticed that in the basin activities is minimum, but in this investment agenda, they should be fully involved from day one to the end. I sincerely believe that if this investment project is left to the government institution alone, I'm afraid we may not go far. The third point I want to bring to your attention is the rise of the rampant conflict in the basin country these days. Some of these conflicts are internal, some are interstate, and others are basin-wide. If these conflicts are not properly addressed, I am afraid that they may undermine these investment dreams. We in the basin country should think of coming up with the active rampant conflict resolution mechanism to ensure that there is the peace in the region. The first point I would highlight is the increasing occurrence of the natural and made disaster in the basin. We have seen the rise of the abnormal floods and flood-related disaster in the basin during the past 2 years. The clear example are the flood in Sudan, Ethiopia, Uganda, and other East African countries and South Sudan, which caused wide damage in those countries. We never know in the years to come. It's new time to address this issue, otherwise they can hamper our efforts to implement this investment plan we are talking about. NILECOM members, ladies and gentlemen, the first point I would like to say at this point is that basin countries are not in the same level of capacity of implementing basin-wide project of transboundary nation. Some countries are ahead and others are behind. For this basin-wide program to succeed, I think there is a need to address this country's specific need. We in South Sudan are struggling with policy formulation process. There could be some challenges in other countries. I hope Nile BI will take these issues into consideration so that it's addressed. Finally, I request the Nile Basin to train 6 of our staff in the formulation of the transboundary policy development in the country. Project preparation and resource mobilization based on the support promised by the GIZ. If this is done, the process to ensure that country-specific projects are included. I'm sure some of the challenges putting us behind in the basin can be removed, paving the way for a smooth running of the transboundary project and program. In conclusion, I would like to highlight that South Sudan is committed to its obligation and to the basin-wide investment agenda. It is very important that collective participatory and inclusive approach can lead us to realize this plan. In the basin needs us to be in the same page in addressing all the challenges facing us these days. Let us work together inclusively, in cooperative and integrated manner through our shared vision. I once again thank all of you who are attending this wonderful meeting for the benefit of our communities. Let the next celebration and other planned events planning in this basin all find together. I would like to thank the development partner for their financial commitment in supporting the Nile Basin Initiative in fulfilling its mandate. I once again thank the Executive Director and the NBI and its subsidiary staff in working tirelessly in managing the Nile Basin to fulfill its mandate. I look forward in working together in other meetings that will be organized. Thank you very much for your attention. May God bless Nile Basin and God bless us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for speaking to us and also for reaffirming your commitment to Nile cooperation. Indeed, South Sudan is a key player in the Nile Basin Initiative, and we're happy to note that you are moving forward with the cooperation, and very soon we will have the Nile Basin Cooperative Framework Agreement signed. We also have taken note of the issues you would want the Nile Basin Initiative address, and I'm sure the team at the Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat have taken note of those issues. Honorable Minister, NILCO member for Sudan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much and sorry for this interruption in power supply. Excellencies, Ministers of Water Affairs in the Nile Basin countries, Executive Director of NBI and NBI team, representative of the Nile Basin Development Partners, distinguished stakeholders and guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my pleasure to join this important annual celebration of the Nile Day and address this gathering on behalf of the government and people of the Republic of Sudan on the occasion of the 2021 Regional Nile Day celebration with the theme of rethinking regional investment in the Nile Basin. There is no doubt that challenges facing the Nile Basin are many and everlasting, exacerbated with climate shocks of both droughts and floods. However, I'm totally convinced that we can overcome these challenges and turn them into opportunities for the well-being of the Nile people. But a prerequisite for that is to work genuinely and sincerely for the sake of joint cooperation. After our December 2018 revolution, the government and people of Sudan are looking forward with open hearts and open minds to genuinely cooperate with our sisters and brothers in the Nile Basin towards peaceful cooperation which bring benefits for all riparian Nile people. The theme of this year, rethinking the regional investment in the Nile Basin, is very expressive it means that we are, as Nile riparian, have the courage to evaluate and improve our cooperation over the Nile River. Looking back at the 20 years of our joint efforts in the Nile, it is unfortunate that we are missing and continue to miss huge cooperative development opportunities. Cooperation on the Nile cannot be achieved with good wishes and kind words only. It requires commitment, hard work, and the political will. Only then we will be able to reverse the challenges into opportunities for the well-being of our Nile people. To this end, I would like to say that Sudan reassures its full commitment to the principles of regional cooperation with regard to water resources and their use in order to maximize the benefits and eliminating poverty through sustainable development, preserving the environment, supporting regional and local peace, and improve people's livelihood. In view of Sudan's potential in agriculture, the country can be a reliable contributor towards security in the Nile region. The geographical location of Sudan greatly helps the country in promoting developments on electrical interconnection in the Nile Basin. Finally, I would like to reiterate the commitment of Sudan to advance the activities of the Nile Basin initiative towards achieving our shared vision of sustainable socio-economic development through the equitable utilization of and benefit from the common Nile River Basin water resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for speaking to us and also for the usual commitment by Sudan to the Nile Cooperation. We are happy that you have been able to speak to us after some challenges with connectivity, but we do appreciate and fully appreciate the support that we have got from you as a country. We are moving on now. As I mentioned to you, ladies and gentlemen, the other honorary ministers will be speaking in the next two segments. So for now, we are going to listen to the NIRCOM member for Uganda. Uganda is hosting this virtual Regional Nile Day celebrations, and it is now my honor and pleasure to invite NIRCOM member for Uganda to speak to us and formally open this event. Over to you, NIRCOM member for Uganda.
Your Excellency, the Chairman of Nile Council of Ministers, the Honorable Ministers from the Nile Basin States, all political heads present, ambassadors and high commissioners, representatives of development partners, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me bring apologies from the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, who should have been here to open this Nile Day, but unfortunately, due to urgent cabinet commitments, he could not be with us. Also, apologies from Honorable Sam Cheptoris, who is indisposed, and he could not also be with us. Therefore, I'm presenting what the Prime Minister should have delivered himself. My name is Alfred Okotukili. I'm the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Water and Environment of Uganda. It is a great pleasure for me to participate in these 22nd Regional Nile Day celebrations. It is also a great honor for Uganda to host an important regional event. We are grateful for the trust and confidence you have continued to show in our country to yet again host this Regional Nile Day celebration. On behalf of the government of Uganda, I thank you all for sparing time to attend this important event. Distinguished delegates and participants, today marks 22 years since the Nile Basin Initiative was established as a regional partnership of the basin countries to pursue a common goal of sustainable development and management of the shared River Nile water resources. 22 years ago, we set a shared vision to achieve sustainable socio-economic development through equitable utilization of and the benefit from the common Nile Basin water resources. We also put in place programs to enable us achieve this shared vision. The theme of this year's Nile Day celebrations, which is rethinking regional investments in the Nile Basin, therefore challenges us to reflect on the journey that we embarked on 22 years ago, evaluate our performance, and formulate more pragmatic measures to achieve our common goals. This calls for involvement of all. Governments do not have monopoly to development. We need to deliberately tap into the private sector specifically and our communities to provide solutions. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm informed that to date we have worked together to prepare, negotiate, agree, and in some cases implement joint investment projects worth more than $6.5 billion. These projects span several sectors, including hydropower development, power transmission, interconnection and trade, irrigation and drainage, lake environment and catchment watershed management, fisheries, multi-sector investment opportunity studies, and inland waterways, transport, among others. I am pleased to note that a number of infrastructure projects from this basket of prepared investments are at various stages of implementation. For the case of Uganda, the investments include the multinational Lakes Edward and Albert Fisheries and Water Resources Management Project between Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Nyimu Multipurpose Water Development Project between Uganda and South Sudan. The other joint investments include the Angolo Multipurpose Project between Uganda and the Republic of Kenya, the Transboundary Wetland Management Project between Uganda, DRC, United Republic of Tanzania, and Kenya, among others. These initiatives will go a long way in contributing to poverty alleviation and enhancing the region's resilience to the impacts of climate change, among others. Distinguished delegates, in spite of all these achievements, I'm aware that the majority of the prepared investments are yet to come to fruition. I'm also aware that there have been bottlenecks in implementing joint infrastructure projects. The challenges mainly relate to lack of clear frameworks for financing, development, management, and sharing of benefits accruing from the joint transboundary projects. But we have a good precedence in the form of, for example, the Rusumo hydropower joint project between the United Republic of Tanzania, Republic of Rwanda, and the Republic of Burundi being developed on River Kagera. The project has helped to find feasible solutions to challenges working against the realization of joint investment projects. We should therefore draw on these lessons learned to expedite the execution of the prepared investments if they are to contribute to alleviation of poverty in the Nile Basin and ultimately to our shared vision. The time is now to turn every stone so as to lift the more than 40% of our people out of poverty against the backdrop of climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, Government of Uganda attaches a lot of importance to regional integration and cooperation because of the numerous benefits they present. For example, it is for this very reason that Uganda is working with the Democratic Republic of Congo to open up roads. Similar projects are going on between Uganda and other neighboring countries in the region. Such projects strengthen cooperation beyond the river, which is one of the pillars of integrated water resources management. At this juncture, I would like to reiterate Uganda's commitment to cooperate on the Nile and assure of Uganda's continued support to NBI, both financially, through honoring the country's contribution obligations, and also supporting efforts aimed at improved cooperation among all Nile Basin member states. I therefore urge all the Nile Basin Initiative members to give cooperation a chance and find amicable solutions in our pursuits to harness the shared Nile resources for the benefit of our people. We should re-examine our commitment to the continued cooperation and provide the required institutional and financial support for implementation of the ongoing and planned regional projects under formulation. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to our development partners who have supported us and continue to do so in our endeavors to contribute to poverty eradication, promotion of economic growth, and reversion of environmental degradation in the Nile Basin. Let us concretize and formalize our cooperation and honor our obligations. I would also like to thank all our governments, the NBI Secretariat, and NBI friends that have worked together to organize this excellent event commemorating the Nile Day, despite the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions and challenges. I'll therefore wish you all fruitful deliberations and declare this Nile Day meeting open for God and my country. We have the Minister from Rwanda who is online, and I think Dr. Kalis, let us allow the Minister for Rwanda to speak now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Permanent Secretary representing the guest of honor. We have been reminded that we have Honorable Minister of Environment of Rwanda, who is the NIRCOM chair, would like to apologize for the mix-up in the arrangements, but we are happy to welcome you and we would want to request you to speak to us as we formally open this segment of the Regional Nile Day celebration. Honorable Minister, over to you.
Thank you very much. Esteemed members of the Nile Council of Ministers, members of Diplomatic Corps, development partners, Executive Director of NBI, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to join you for the Nile Day celebration to commemorate the establishment of the Nile Basin Initiative, which is a key milestone to the Nile cooperation. This day is an opportunity for Basin citizens to celebrate the benefits of the Nile cooperation and exchange experiences of the cooperative management and development of the shared Nile Basin water and related resources. Esteemed NILCOM members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I commend the choice and selection of the theme, Rethinking Regional Investments in the Nile Basin. The theme provides us yet another opportunity to highlight the importance in working together to negotiate, agree, and prepare the regional investment projects in different sectors for the shared benefits of our citizens. We all need water and food to survive, and we need energy as a key pillar for economic development. However, our countries can only benefit equitably and sustainably from the shared River Nile by having a cooperation framework. Since 1997, Nile riparian countries engaged in negotiations toward a cooperative framework agreement on the Nile, and efforts done so far are commendable. Countries agreed on key substantive principles that constitute a foundation towards a thriving cooperation. esteemed NILCOM members, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we all believe that it is through cooperation that Nile riparian countries can achieve their vision of sustainable socio-economic development from the shared Nile water resources. The government of Rwanda remains highly committed to advance the Nile cooperation and will continue to support the Nile Basin Initiative as it's currently the only platform that brings together all Nile riparian countries to foster cooperation. The government of Rwanda manifested its commitment by signing the Cooperative Framework Agreement on the Nile and later ratifying it, as we believe that it is only under this framework that any issue pertaining to equitable use of and benefit from the shared Nile waters can be discussed. I wish to commend the commitment and the cooperation of all the Nile Basin Initiative member states and hope that this will continue in order to reach our shared vision. Also, I wish to express our appreciation for the good work and effort being made by the Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat in spearheading the collaborative efforts of the Nile riparian countries. Esteemed NILCOM members, distinguished diplomatic corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me extend my gratitude to our development partners for their valuable support and contribution to the sustainable development of our region. As I conclude, I wish to convey my gratitude to the government of Uganda for hosting this event despite challenges brought by the COVID-19 pandemic that the world continues to face. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and I wish you all a happy Nile Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, NILCOM Chair, for speaking to us and also for the strategic guidance you have been providing to the Nile Basin. We do thank you and your colleagues for moving the Nile Basin cooperation this far. Ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of the first segment of the Regional Nile Day Celebrations 2021. I want to thank you, honorable ministers, development partners, citizens of the Nile Basin, and friends of the Nile for participating actively in this session. We still have two other segments that are going to follow. We shall have a ministerial segment, and I really would want to request everybody to participate and hear from our ministers and how they are driving the agenda of cooperation on the Nile. We shall also have a segment where we shall launch the Nile Basin Development Forum and the State of the Nile Basin Report. Thank you very much again. I wish you all the best as we celebrate the Nile Day. This marks the end of my term of office, and it has been a pleasure moderating this session. And I wish you all the best as we move on with the celebration.
Once again, good afternoon, honorable ministers, delegates from the different organizations, the countries, the development partners, and colleagues from the family of the Nile Basin Initiative. Like I said, I'm called Godfrey Sengendo. I'm stepping in for the regional coordinator, NELSAP, who had a last-minute appointment at Rusumo with some ministers of energy from Tanzania. So I'll give an overview of progress, the NELSAP component of the Nile Basin Initiative. Of course, we have some flagship projects of the big one being the Rusumo, which is between Tanzania, Burundi, and Rwanda. And those are just pictorials. The one on top is just a pictorial. We have the multinational Lakes Edward and Albert Integrated Water Resources and Fisheries Project, which is between DRC and Congo. And I'll just give a summary in the next slide about cumulative progress. In terms of progress, we have a project called the Angololo, which is a multi-purpose project between between Kenya and Uganda. And for this, it was launched in July of 2017. And currently, studies are going for feasibility, and independent environmental and social impact assessment is yet to begin. So it's expected to end in 2021, end of this year, and cumulative progress or completion is at 35%. We have the LIF2, or the Lakes Edward and Albert Fisheries and Fisheries projects, like I said, between DRC and Uganda. And for this, quite significant progress has been made to the tune of 83%, being implemented by 3 centers of DRC, Congo, and NELSAP. And some quick highlights of progress include construction completion of 9 modern fishing landing sites. Scientific studies on fish stock assessments have been completed for both lakes of Edward and Albert. Many other studies and work around alternative income generating activities have been done. And of course, because of time, I won't delve so much into the detail. And then under the power program, we have a project on interconnection of power grids of the Nile countries, which covers countries of Burundi, DRC, Kenya, Rwanda, and Uganda, with a total area of about 930 kilometers of overhead transmission lines and around 17 substations. Some progress has been made towards this, specifically the Uganda-Rwanda that was completed and is ready for commissioning in the next 2 months. There is the DRC and Rwanda, which was also completed. There is Tanzania, Kigoma, and Rwanda, which is ongoing currently. There is a new one of Uganda, DRC, for which feasibility study began last year in March. There is a Kenya, Uganda, for which they are synchronizing the operation, and that should also come online very soon. Then the Nyamule Juba, which is between Uganda and South Sudan. Currently, they are evaluating consultancies for the feasibility study and the independent environmental and social impact assessment of this. So cumulatively, Rusumo stands at 72%. This is a construction project, and it will generate about 75 megawatts shared between the 3 countries. And that is just a picture of what it looks like, at least as by that date shown in the picture. So it's expected to end, of course, on schedule, and that's where the coordinator is today, the regional coordinator, like I mentioned. The Akanyaru, currently, they're of course trying to mobilize resources, and an MOU stands between the 2 countries. And discussions, of course, have been, this is being funded by AFDB, NEPAD, IPPF, and resource mobilization for the eventual implementation of this project is actually ongoing as well, with partnership between, of course, Burundi and Rwanda. Then the other energies or efforts are around resource mobilization for majorly transmission lines, and also some transboundary power projects. There's one Songezi between Tanzania and Uganda, but for which I think Rwanda has also asked to join the tripartite arrangement to benefit from that transboundary project. There is the Jabel Awari Rek Malakal Integrated Water and Fisheries Project between the 2 Sudans, and for those different efforts are being done in resource mobilization for their preparation.
Key challenges. Speed up because you have only 5 minutes and already 4 minutes are passed.
Okay, yes, I'm wrapping up with key challenges. The major one has been around COVID and the restrictions with travel and convening, and also delay in getting letters of commitment from some countries, especially for shared transboundary projects, and also the delay or the low disbursement from the country contributions, of course, that affect the operational running of the center. So that's what I can say for now. That's just a pictorial of one of the overhead transmission lines between Uganda and Kenya. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That is very nice. I see that Dr. Father has raised his hand, but I don't know whether what has been presented in the video is not enough.
Yes, my presentation is ready, Dr. Osman. I can give it in 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
Okay then.
Okay, honorable ministers, representatives of the Nile Development Partners, Nile TAC, good afternoon. I was given actually about 5 minutes to present the SAPs for the 2 centers, but fortunately or unfortunately we are out of power here or out of internet. So I will go straight forward to the first part is about NIRSAP, which is already presented. I will go to intro part, that is the other part. And I have very 2 or 3
slides.
Sorry? So let me start by investment programs in the intro. As we all know, that intro has implemented the IDIN projects, which are 2 parts, fast track and multi-purpose projects. The fast tracks consist of about 5 projects, that is the watershed, irrigation, flood preparedness, and the Eastern Nile planning model, plus the Ethiopian-Sudan interconnection. And the multi-purpose program consists of joint multi-purpose program plus the Baro Akobo. As we know, that the joint multi-purpose program, there is a great effort exerted there up to the scoping study, and then it stops there. And the Baro Akobo integrated water sources program or multi-purpose program, there is a great effort there, and there is a lot of studies done, completed there. You can see that in the short-term projects, there are 3 short-term projects ready, and there are about 9 projects in the medium-term or long-term projects. Also, within this fast-track project, you can see that there is a lot of information generated through the cooperative regional assessment programs. I have to say that these projects are implemented during the 2006 and 2011 strategic plan. Now we have the Nile Cooperation on Climate Risk program, which is about to start, maybe or to be launched in next April or May. This program has 4 components, but unfortunately there is no investment project in this program. We can see that from the first set and the second strategy, that we can conclude that INTRO is increasingly shifting towards water resource management, which is not the mandate of the subsidiary action programs, which draw from the subsidiarity principle. And this is a very worried point for the INTRO management, that we should focus on investment projects. But as you can see that we are increasingly shifting to management projects. These are the challenges that we are facing. INSAP effort to deliver its mandate is challenges through the complexities arising from the current legal and political imperative. This is coming from the inability to address the question how to rethink investment so that the aspirations of all the Nile Basin are met and the concern some are at the hydropolitics of the East. The second one is difficult in sustaining country contributions to intro due to include legal arrangement. INSAP has been unable to attract the required above. You can see that all these challenges are at the end are manifested in the hampering the fundraising efforts to carry out the investment preparation programs. So this last one, so you can see that what are the roles we can ask, what role can development partners, friends of the Nile, play to advance the investment agenda? These are the challenges that we are facing. These are conclusions, I can say. The principle, the basic principles underlying the mandate of the SAPs remain valid, no doubt of that. Investment prepared on hydrological unit basis enable more efficient resources use for member states. That some investment-related challenges require commitment and determination from the Nile Basin member countries, and I especially refer here to the country contributions. These can be overcome by some sort of determination from the MBI member countries. All challenges that I have referred to need to be addressed at the highest level. Thank you very much. I hope that this can trigger more questions and discussions in addressing or rethinking the investment project in the Nile Basin. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Now I think we are going to go to the program back again, and we are expected to have the keynote presentation on transboundary investment in the Eastern Nile region. According to the program that I have here, His Excellency the Minister for Ethiopia is actually is going to present this, His Excellency. I don't know whether he is going to present it himself or somebody in his place is going to present that. You can take the floor, please.
Eastern Nile region, we have a constrained river flow, and 86% of the flow of the Nile water generated from less than a fifth of Eastern Nile in the Ethiopian highlands. As such, Eastern Nile is therefore a region of temporarily constrained river flow. We can take, for example, the last season rainy season created a huge flood, like an equivalent of 100 return period. Eastern Nile is also a region of scarcity, per capita energy consumption. For example, in most of upstream Nile countries is in the order of 100 kilowatt hour per year. Only Nile countries that have got that energy security is Egypt, which has reached 1,800 kilowatt hour per year per person. Most of water storage infrastructure is downstream, where high temperature incurs significant percent of water get lost due to evaporation. Almost all irrigated agriculture are in the two most downstream countries. Upstream suitable for crop zoning, where highest return per unit of agriculture water is possible. Therefore, need for paradigm shift that promotes regionally optimized investment that encourage intra-Eastern Nile trade in virtual water, integration of production system and infrastructure. The region is highly vulnerable to climate change impacts. It means it needs drought and flood preparedness. So we need building regional drought forecasting and overall resilience capabilities, need to optimize location of water infrastructure. On the other hand, our region is also a region of high biodiversity. It's a frontier of biodiversity. Unless we do adequately, ecosystem will be at risk of extinction. Everyone should cooperate actually to bring our ecosystem stand up to this challenge that are affecting all of us. The second issue I would like to bring is the potential that need to be unlocked in our region. One is virtual trade. That means trade in agricultural products can be taken as a virtual trade of water. That means crop or product produced somewhere can be transported and made available in another part of our region. But there has to be an Eastern Nile trade regime and infrastructure that enables trade. We have strong connectivity, although not on invested infrastructure. We have a lot of parameters that interconnected us: hydrologic, geographical, historical, and cultural. Our area inhabits large catchment population. The Eastern Nile countries host over 50% of the entire Nile basin population. Such a scale will render feasible and establishment of a large regional economic bloc and eventual regional integration. But initial steps forward regional integration beyond water are not initiated. We have a strong geographical, hydrological, historical, cultural connectivity among our countries, as I have said, so conducive for enhanced flow of labor, investment capital, and the people across borders, not to speak of cooperative water resource investment. But this connectivity are not being leveraged effectively. We have obviously in Ethiopian highland large hydropower potential, which is clean energy potential, but needs to be complemented with transmission interconnection and establishment of a power trade region. We are, of course, trying to have that interconnection. We have already connected to Sudan and also to the Nile Equatorial region with Kenya. We are completing the interconnection of up to 2,000 megawatt. This will create the Eastern Africa power pool. Harnessing the Ethiopian highland hydro potential is instrumental for our region, be it in Eastern Nile or the whole Nile or East Africa, in stabilizing Africa power pool. We are working together with all 10 countries in East Africa to establish what we call Eastern Africa power pool. Then the hydro advantage of Ethiopia will provide huge opportunity in terms of stabilizing the energy mix. We know all Africa has high renewable energy potential from solar, from wind, from geothermal, and of course from hydro as well. We know also that these renewable energy resources like solar and wind are intermittent. They are not available every time, but hydro will enable them to be stabilized together with geothermal. It can be really used as an instrument of maximizing the utilization and harnessing of the regional available energy potential. So the potential to be unlocked for increasing collective resilience against climate change impact is huge. To contribute to climate change mitigation is huge. And also when the world is struggling really to reach 50% of renewable energy mix by 2030, some of our countries have already around 90% renewable energy. So we have to keep up this effort and maximize the generation of renewable energy. We can do a lot of other things like potential for building collective risk management capability. So we can collectively create a resilience against climate change impact. Still requires regional drought and flood forecasting system, hydrometeorological stations, and communication and the near real-time data and information exchange mechanisms. We have to create a conducive situation as it is stipulated like in the CFA to have a reciprocal data exchange mechanism. In terms of risk management for climate change, water quality, safety, etc. But we need to agree on common standard procedures, protocols, and rules and guidelines. It's not adequate to request only upstream countries to do the maximum, but downstream countries are just remaining in the status quo. So upstream, downstream complementary potentials exist. We shouldn't see again another flood of the magnitude that we have seen last season in Khartoum. That could be mitigated by appropriate investment of strategic infrastructure in the tributary. If we just look at some of the constraining issue, we have to manage our resources crossing the boundary. That means we have to see the whole river system as one system, so that investment we do at one place will trickle down or provide a benefit sharing mechanism to the other side. So if we have this open mind, I think we can really advance. So Eastern Nile, as a key message, harbors significant potential, but still awaiting to be unlocked through sub-basin cooperation. In our region, we have still challenges impending, other challenge like institutional challenge. There is no Nile Basin Treaty to which all riparian subscribe to. No permanently empowered basin or sub-basin institution to formulate and implement much needed policies, programs that would enable leverage the potential and manage risks. We have uncoordinated water resource investment planning. We know potential benefits of Eastern Nile regional optimization of investments, but unfortunately, they are foregone. So proliferation of suboptimal water resources, development, or investment, even money that may foreclose future optimized use. No common basin risk management approach or plan in place. Rather, it appears to be competitive, simply without any reason why we could benefit from cooperation, the much needed cooperation. Inadequate reactive or as opposed to proactive response to risks like flood, droughts, water quality, safety, etc. Uncoordinated management of existing infrastructure is also very clear. Lack of cooperative management, we see therefore inefficient use of and inadequate returns to capital invested. So, as a key message on this third issue. These are major long-term challenges Eastern Nile countries need to overcome in order to mitigate shared constraints and manage risks and exploit existing potential the sub-basin has to offer. Current investment planning in our region is not conducive to overcome major long-term challenges. Time, therefore, to really rethink our modus operandi. Thus, the timeline of the team of the 6th Nile Basin Development Forum. Rethinking regional investment in the Nile Basin is timely. Cooperation is the call of the time, not protecting the status quo that doesn't provide opportunity for all of the basin countries. This has to change. It's time to change toward this regional integration. Thank you very much.
His Excellency, the Minister from Uganda, to present the keynote for the Nile Equatorial Lakes.
Thank you, Moderator. The Nile Equatorial Lakes is made up of 8 countries, and we are otherwise known as the White Nile, and we contribute up to 15% of the water in River Nile annually. Importantly, this is actually stable throughout the year, so it provides a very sound economic, environmental flow. We are also geographically linked, making interconnecting infrastructure like power, road, rail, and maritime or navigation a huge possibility. The transboundary investments are aimed at sustainable development and sharing among citizens in the basin countries, benefit of River Nile resources in terms of food, energy, and water security. These kinds of investments are only possible through enhanced cooperation and are shared and implemented by the member states. They also promote sustainability of the resources through joint and importantly all-inclusive management. Lack of funding of the projects in country and at transboundary level remains a challenge. The opportunities that we see in the Nile region is that if we adopt the whole basin perspective, in terms of orientation and modus operandi, which includes investment planning, to ensure that adverse impacts are avoided, minimized, or managed successfully. In long term, the only option regionally optimized investment portfolio for the basin is to look at it as one, as a whole. The potential, for example, for hydropower in the Nile sub-basin is huge. In Uganda alone, the Nile drops by more than 500 meters between Lake Victoria and Lake Albert, representing an estimated capacity of over 4,000 megawatts. And at the moment, we have developed only 800 and currently finishing another 600. The population in the Nile region is growing, and this is actually good for economic development. Labor availability for economic production is assured, as well as a ready market for food, produce, manufactured goods and services. This should present actually very significant opportunities for economic growth, provided the proper conditions for development are in place so that we avoid shocks that we might create to our environment. We also need to look at the internal trade barriers if we are supposed to expand the regional market, which is a necessity. The Nile region, especially around Lake Victoria, has huge potentials for fisheries, given that it has very suitable temperature that could be exploited so that we have processing plants established and other export industries established, so that we have more people involved in fisheries so that the water can be shared between the riparian states. Irrigation is another area which is huge and the potential is really big, But in the long term, this has to be rationalized because we may not have enough water for all our needs as far as irrigation settings are concerned. Therefore, uncoordinated and unilateral expansion of irrigation is a potential for water shortage or just sheer wastage of resources that may have to be abandoned. It therefore calls upon us as responsible members of the basin to have in place a firm framework that we can use for cooperation and development of these shared resources equitably for the benefit of all. The water reservoirs that can be used for hydropower and irrigation may be impacted if we do not plan and implement these projects on a win-win basis. So this is an opportunity that requires optimization. The other one is the choice of the crops and agricultural water usage efficiency, so that we have a regional approach to food security, a regional approach for agricultural markets that we can develop as a basin and position ourselves globally to trade in these products. The other opportunity, of course, for us as the Nile is utilization of the watershed management, groundwater management, salinity control, flood forecasting, and management of wetlands and forestry. Bearing in mind that climate change is affecting the basin, so that we share the information and use the available information on a real-time basis, preferably for development purposes. The multi-sectoral coordination and analysis, such as the Nile Multi-Sector Investment Opportunity Analysis and the Nile Equatorial Lakes Investment Program, are critical, and they've identified sustainable development investments. We are looking at investment strategy and action plan, which has already been done, and the estimation says 27 billion US dollars is needed, with 3 billion required in the next 5 years. The goal of NELIP is to implement 17 projects costing about 3.7 billion over the 13 years. And these projects are actually spread across the entire spectrum that can spur development and improve livelihood of our people in the basin. The huge gap in terms of information can be plugged, and this can turn into an opportunity for us for decision-making purposes on critical resource management issues in the basin. The coordinated and joint planning is another opportunity that we should embrace, and this can lead to stability, peace, and prosperity for all riparian states. On the side of the water resources, data, and information, there are two limiting factors. The availability of reliable long-term data, whether hydrological, environmental, or socioeconomic, is a problem. The technical capacity to generate the necessary analytical and modeling tools to be agreed and adopted by all countries is also another one. Hydrometeorological, sediment, groundwater, flood, ETC data and information generated on the basis of actual measurement on site and validated will be needed to ensure that the investment planning is well informed. Countries, therefore, will need to put in place flow gauging, hydrometeorological stations in various areas so that we have real-time information and data sharing protocol mechanisms and agreements, as well as processing this data using analytical models and toolkits for the benefits of the countries. We also notice a number of delays in the implementation of the projects. Some of the causes of these delays are, one, the priority differences between states on the investment project. In the case of projects shared between countries, there are various priorities. Second, low priority level of projects as the process is evolving. We note that most countries do not pay attention to the process, but are simply looking at the end of the preparation process. Also, another factor is the political and national considerations that tend to override the technical and regional screening priorities. Coupled with that is the limited linkage between the regional projects and the national projects in terms of priorities. There is also insufficient intersectoral coordination regarding the prioritization. Financial commitments of the countries could be better to support these projects. There is also need to increase awareness and guidance to the relevant decision makers at national level and community level to embrace these transboundary projects. We also note inadequate monitoring of the funding landscape and the slow uptake of transboundary absorption of the transboundary projects amongst the decision makers. The challenges are many. When we look at water insecurity, food insecurity, and energy insecurity, these are likely to be amplified with the coming on board of the shocks of climate change and the rising population and the growth in urbanization. The Nile Basin region remains the only region in Africa without a functional regional power grid. The volumes of power traded amongst ourselves is really insignificant. Most climate change models project that we'll see a warmer Nile region, and this will translate into more water demand for the same quantity of agricultural yield. Water, hence, will be a key constraint in the coming decades to realize both food and energy security, not to speak of securing water for industrial and municipal usage, and for maintaining the ecosystem. This is an area where we all have got to think and act together. The potential for agricultural sector is large, but is held back by the constraints as enumerated, because we are using nature-based solutions primarily in most of the Nile. Critical is the issue of the ecosystems, the habitat, and the biodiversity assets of the world significance that will be at risk in the Nile region, bordering on extinction because of climate change and the pressures that is coming from the population. We therefore look forward to formalization of the cooperation agreement and the framework which should serve as a basis for really our cooperation. There should be joint planning and implementation of projects, sharing of data, and involving the private sector along with the public sector. Finance mobilization needs to be intensified, and we all as countries need to support the Secretariat so that they're able to coordinate the activities by way of honoring our obligations and supporting them in our planning process. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you very much. This is a very nice roadmap that I hope it will be taken up by the Nile Secretariat and the Nile staff members, and under the guidance of the Nile Com members. Now we have the round table. The time allocated for that is only 19 minutes. And a lot has been said during the opening ceremony from the different countries. So the Secretary, if they can help me, I'm going to go on the names of the countries on alphabetical order. If one of the honorable ministers would like to say something, it should, with request, to kindly be 1 or 2 minutes maximum, so that we can cover the whole section. Starting in alphabetical order, we are going to ask for Burundi, then DRC, then Egypt, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, Sudan, South Sudan, Tanzania, Uganda, and Eritrea. With this, I would like to give the floor to Burundi if they have something to say in 1 or 2 minutes about their commitments in the implementation of the identified and prepared investment projects.
Thank you very much, moderator, for giving me the floor. Mine will be short. I just want to thank all presenters for very good presentation they made, and let us all together, especially the NBI Secretariat and the ministers of Nile Basin Initiative, together with our Secretariat, to continue the mobilization of funds for the implementation of regional projects, at least those that were identified. Let us, with the help of the Secretariat, mobilize funds, talk to partners for us to implement those regional projects. Because this Nile should be a solution for our region, a solution for the member states of the Nile Basin Initiative. So I call upon the NBI to continue the mobilization of funds so that even those transboundary projects will be implemented. And those that have started, let us speed up. We should not be slow. Time is not on our side. We have to run where others are working. Time is not on our side. That's what I wanted just to say in a few words. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Message received. I hope all the honorable Nile members take it up. I expect that they will all be working on that one. As I have said at the start, very few, although 84 projects have been identified or more than that, those have been implemented or starting implementation are very few. The Sumo Fall and the interconnection between Ethiopia and Sudan, we would like to see more. We can only strive and work together to rejoin development, sustainable development projects. So with that one, I don't know whether Sudan would like to say something in 1 or 2 minutes. Otherwise, we go to South Sudan if they have something to add.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, for this opportunity. I would like to thank my colleagues, the two presenters who made very concise and informative presentations. I would like to give few comments, very brief. As a Nile citizen, who are dreaming of Nile cooperation maybe for the last 30 or 40 years, working in the water sector. I start with the theme of this year is very relevant, rethinking regional investment project. It's very relevant, and I must admit that it's very smart also theme, because if we look for the last 20 years or more, what we have done on cooperation in the Nile is far below potential and far below what our Nile people dream of. We have done Rizumu Falls, which is very good. We have done power interconnection between Ethiopia and Sudan, which is very good. But that is very tiny of projects which can bring mutual benefits to the Nile people, which we missed. Let us ask ourselves why we miss all these cooperative development opportunities. My understanding from the experience I have in the Nile Basin is that we need, as the Nile intellectuals, as Nile leaders, we need the political will from our countries to transform the kind words, the nine words, the nice words of cooperation into actions. If we don't do that, we will continue talking about cooperation, it's bring benefits, benefit sharing, with very little projects on the ground. So let us encourage our all countries to promote the required political will, is that cooperation bring benefit for all of us. And what is very clear to us is that there is relative advantages in the different countries, in the 10 countries. One country has a potential in fisheries. Another country has a potential in hydropower, the Ethiopian highlands, for example. Another country has potential in food production, Sudan, for example. A third country has potential in industry. Unless we see the relative merits of the different countries and move directly to win-win, we cannot bring cooperation. A key point in my remarks is that cooperation needs trust. Without trust, we cannot move one step in cooperation. And in that cooperation, we should see, in fact, we have seen ourselves, calculations and modeling, hydroeconomic modeling, is that cooperation bring benefits for all the countries. It's not for this country or that country. But to reach that, we need trust, because without trust, we cannot do cooperation. So unilateral actions in the shared river basin demolish trust among the countries. And that seriously affects cooperation. I would add my words to my colleague from Rwanda, is that there is a lot of opportunities, even at sub-basin level, even between 2 countries or 3 countries. We should promote that. We should seriously promote transboundary cooperation in water, because many other benefits can come in addition to that. If we compare our Nile river basin with other river basins in the world, we see in terms of development cooperation, transboundary cooperation, we are far back. So I really hope we move seriously into actions to promote cooperation in the Nile. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. That is very nice. I don't know whether we have South Sudan involved.
No. Hello? No.
Tanzania? Is there? Tanzania is there? Somebody from Tanzania? His Excellency? Uganda, I think we have heard, but if there's something more to add, that would be nice. I don't think we have somebody from Eritrea. We are hoping that they will be members. They are observers so far, and we have been waiting for them for some time now. I hope they will join. So, with this, maybe you need me to. I tried here. Is that okay? I tried here to synthesize I wrote a draft that I'm going to share with you, and maybe the Secretariat will develop it more and then put it as something as an output of this roundtable ministerial, very important ministerial roundtable. I'm saying that in the occasion of the 22nd Nile Day, on the 22nd of February 2021, the NileCom members reaffirmed the following. Mainly only 3 points that I have stated here. The NileCom members representing the MDI countries have confirmed their full commitment to the principles of regional cooperation with regard to water resources and their uses in order to maximize the benefits and eliminate poverty through cooperative sustainable development, preserving the environment supporting regional and local peace, and improving people's livelihood. They have agreed to optimize the use of their geographical equation and other comparative and competitive advantages to work together towards water, energy, and food security in the Nile region and even beyond. They reiterated their commitment to advance the activities of the NDI towards achieving their shared vision of sustainable socio-economic development through the equitable utilization of benefits from the common Nile Basin water resources. This is just a draft that I picked from the discussions and from the keynote speakers and opening remarks during the opening session. So this is my effort in this direction. I hope it will be incorporated by the Nile Secretariat in the report about this celebration of the Ministerial Roundtable meeting of today. With this, I think
Moderator?
yeah, according to the program here, we have covered the discussion by all NILECOM members, and this is the synthesis of the discussion. What is left, according to the program I have in front of me, is the break and the virtual exhibition and videos. I would like to hear from the Secretariat or Her Excellency the NILECOM Chair for any guidance.
Thank you, Moderator. If we go back to the presentation you just sent, the synthesis for discussion, I would like we move the geographic location on the point number 2.
Okay. Right.
We just request all members to use their comparative and competitive advantages without putting the geographic location.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So this to use the comparative. Okay.
Yes. And as you were asking me to advise the way forward, I would like to request all members to go immediately to the segment number 3, because time is not on our side.
Okay.
Thank you.
So for this one, it's okay, Your Excellency. Now I have changed it a little bit. They have agreed to optimize the use of their comparative and competitive advantages to work together towards water, energy, and food security in the Nile region and beyond.
Yes.
Is that
thank
okay?
you. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So I would go with Her Excellency, the Minister, that will go to segment 3 straightforward, and so this will end my facilitation for this afternoon. I hope it has been covered well, despite the constraints in time, and let us hope that this cooperation continues and advance. I would like to thank all of those who have been helping in this event, starting from the members, the Nile Secretariat, the NLPU, the ENTRO, the development partners, the Nile Basin Discourse, All of those who have been at the backstage working in this, I would like to find out. And thank you very much.
Thank you, NILCOM Chair. Thank you, Edie. We're now getting into the third segment of our Nile Day celebrations today. And in this segment, we are going to witness the launch of the 6th Nile Basin Development Forum and also the Nile Basin, the report on the state of the Nile Basin. So without wasting more time, I would like to invite the ED to give his welcome remarks, but also we are taking this opportunity to sign the Memorandum of Understanding between the Nile Basin Initiative and the Nile Basin Discourse. You're welcome, ED.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you, NILCOM Chair. I am very happy and glad and pleased to be signing this MOU. This is a renewal of the former one, which was 3 years. You see. And the MBI values very much the relationship with the civil society. It is our right arm in dealing with cooperation and management and development in the Nile Basin. With this short welcome, I will start just the signing, and then you see to be witnessed with all Nile discourse in the Nile Basin. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, ED. You'll notice that the ED is now signing the Memorandum of Understanding between the Nile Basin Discourse and NBI. And I would just like to mention that the Nile Basin Discourse Chair, the board chair, already signed the MOU. He is based in Sudan, but he has already appended his signature, and now the ED of the Secretariat is also appending his signature. As the ED completes that task, the next item on the agenda is launching the River Nile.
So this is the signed MOU. 4 copies, and hopefully this is going to be sent to the regional coordinator and also to the steering chair, Professor Muawiyah, and also to the Helen, which is the regional manager of the Nile Basin Discourse. Thank you very much. We are glad this is to sign the MOU.
Thank you very much, ED, and of course, in absentia, but I know he's following the proceedings online. Would like to thank the chairman of the Nile Basin Discourse for having appended his signature earlier. And now next on the agenda is the launch of the River Nile State of Basin Report. And this will be launched by the chairman of the chairperson of the Nile Council of Ministers. But before she does that, I would like to invite the NBI Secretariat to make a presentation about this report. Thank you. Michael, please.
Invited dignitaries, members of the Nile Basin family, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to present some brief remarks on the state of the Nile Basin report as an input to the launch ceremony. So, this here is the cover page of the report that we are launching today. It's called the State of the River Nile Basin Report 2020. It is a very important output of the work that we do at NBI. The report serves a number of purposes. Number one is that we hope that the report will inform and also include useful analysis that can be used in educating and empowering countries for better stewardship of the Nile's scarce water resources and environmental resources. The report can also be used to discern trends of different variables over time and to facilitate the understanding of the very complex Nile Basin issues. And then we also hope that the report will draw attention to the emerging issues, including environmental degradation and overuse of resources, and the need for better management responses before issues become very critical. So with that in mind, NBI and partners set a target for this report. The specific objectives is that the report is used to enhance shared understanding of the biophysical trends and characteristics of the Nile Basin. It is also hoped that it will be useful for monitoring change and progress towards achieving strategic objectives set by Nile Basin Initiative. We also hope that the report can be used as a source of credible information and update on the basin. We hope that the report can also be used to identify and address basin-wide challenges and opportunities. And we hope that the report will also be useful in highlighting policy options, potential joint courses of action, and strategic measures. The report tries to do all of this and more. So this is the second report that we are producing as part of this state of River Nile Basin reporting. The first one was done in 2012. It received very, very good reviews, and it has been used by countries and technical and political staff, and also in the research community for all this time as the key reference when it comes to issues related to the Nile Basin. This second report we are producing now, we hope will continue this trend of being a very useful source document for riparians as they make decisions, very important decisions about the basin. In future, we shall be producing this report every 5 years, and we've already set in place a mechanism for doing this. So, how was this report produced? The report was produced using information that we received from countries and other public domain databases and reports, especially those that are still validated by the countries of the UN and World Bank. All the information in the report was validated by regional expert working group members who have representation from the national government, but also from experts in the different areas. As part of the preparation process, we developed a list of indicators that are going to be used from now onwards in monitoring basin health, and we shall be reporting on these indicators. So the report delves into the current state, main trends, drivers of change, and management responses in each of the key areas. And the key areas that we are looking at in the report are mapped onto the NBI 10-year strategy, strategic goals, specifically the ones related to water security, energy security, food security, environmental sustainability, climate change, and transboundary water governance. So I wanted to delve a little bit into what are the issues that the report addresses. This is not meant to exhaust the 260 pages of the report, but this is just meant to, as a flavor, to create appetite for you to go and pick up this report and read it. So the report has a very good synthesis of water security issues in the Nile Basin. It reviews the multiple dimensions of water security, including time, over time, temporal, trends, and other kinds of changes. Spatial, as you know, the Nile Basin is a very varied basin with different environments, climate, and others. Sectoral, including agriculture, energy, and environment, and the other sectors. So the synthesis tries to link the water security issue to other themes. In other words, the report tries to present a case for countries to work together to innovate solutions to the water security challenges. So when members pick up this report, they are going to be able to find a lot of information. There are 7 information-packed chapters of the report. This slide is trying to, not to give what is in the report, but to inform members about what kind of information they can find on each chapter. In chapter 1, there are basic facts about the Nile Basin, the physiography, the people and livelihoods of the Nile Basin and how these are evolving over time, and tries to look into the increasing pressures on the River Nile resource base. Chapter 2 on water security deals with water demands and how they are changing over time, delves into the pressures that the water resources are facing, looks into risks of water-related hazards, including floods and droughts, and then presents some of the measures that assure water security and the status of implementing them. Chapter 3 deals with energy security and looks into the drivers of demand for energy in the basin, looks at the state of energy and electricity production, consumption, and trade, and looks into the responses that countries are trying to put in place to deal with issues of increased demand, and finally goes into justifying the whole need for countries to accelerate access as they pursue economic development. Chapter 4 deals with issues of food security and looks at the importance of the agricultural sector in the basin, looks into the use of water for production in the agriculture sector, including efficiency thereof, looks into the policies and role of government in promoting agriculture, and presents also a case for agricultural modernization, including the roles of government and the private sector. Chapter 5 is about ecosystems and biodiversity. It deals with all the water-related ecosystems and the pressures they face, and the state they are in now, and the mechanisms that are in place, both regionally and at country level, to protect these fragile systems. So that is a lot of, I've not even delved into the details of what is there, but just a flavor. But specifically for me, what I find very useful in this report is that it presents, and it is an extensive use of graphics to show the case for protecting and harnessing these water resources well. So you have a lot of graphs, a lot of maps, a lot of figures that are trying to achieve this. And in addition to this, the report has done a very good job on going around the whole basin, picking out very good pictures that illustrate the points related to how the citizens are going about doing their job, carrying out all the developments in agriculture, the ecosystem health, the happiness with which people are dealing with all these challenging issues. So it is a very good read and a very good, very well illustrated report. In a nutshell, I encourage you to go and read it and you'll find out all that I'm talking about. Before I conclude this presentation, allow me to present some acknowledgements of the people and groups that did a very good job in bringing this whole report together. First of all, we would like to thank the Nile TAC members and expert working group members who gave the technical guidance of the whole process through working group workshops. I would like to thank the countries, all the Nile Basin countries, for their commitment to provide all the data and information that was used in developing the project, the report. I would like to thank the European Union and German federal government through GIZ who funded the whole process. I would like to thank the Nile Basin Initiative staff for working tirelessly to complete the preparation of the report. The consulting firm that we used at Delphi and the graphic designer are also thanked in their capacity. Thank you very much. If you go to the website of Nile Basin Initiative, you will be able to find a link to this document. So far, the synthesis report is there, and in the next few days, the full report will be uploaded, and you can download and use as you wish. Thank you very much, and I hand over back to you, facilitator.
Thank you very much, Dr. Michael, for that brief presentation. I'm sure we all now are eager to go pick the report. The synthesis report, as you've been mentioned, is already published on the website. So please feel free to look out for it and take a read. It's now time to have this report officially launched, and it's my humble request to the NileCom Chair, the Minister of Environment, Rwanda, to please launch the Nile State of Basin Report 2020. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Nile Basin countries are really making great advances made in tackling poverty, malnutrition, health issues, and unemployment. These developments have, to a large extent, depended on the availability of water resources, especially given the important role agriculture plays in the basin. The river network of the Nile, including the many large wetlands and lakes it sustains, comprises a critical source of water for some riparian countries, especially those that are fully or to a large extent situated within the boundaries of the basin. However, water-related issues have grown into risks in some areas of the Nile Basin. Rising abstractions from rivers and aquifer, rapid land use change, and heavy pollution have exerted increasing pressures on water resources and the ecosystems that sustain their continuous provision, among others. Ladies and gentlemen, against this background, countries need to periodically reflect and monitor some of these developments, assess effects in terms of sustainable utilization of the basin's water and related resources, and track progress toward overcoming the main basin development challenges. The second River Nile State of Basin report that we are launching today is aimed at providing credible and up-to-date information for creating a shared understanding of biophysical trends and characteristics of the Nile Basin by providing validated information to riparian states on the phenomena and health of the basin. Therefore, the State of River Nile Basin report is important for facilitating greater cooperation among member states in our endeavor to achieve sustainable and equitable utilization of the Nile Basin water resources. The report will find usage by diverse audiences, including politicians, government officials, development workers, media, experts, academicians, researchers, and all citizens of the Nile Basin countries. I thank the Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat, who prepared the report with the support of GIZ on behalf of the European Union and the German federal government, who provided the funding. I also thank all the technical staff in the Nile Basin countries that actively contributed to the development of the report. I therefore take this opportunity to launch in front of all of you, ladies and gentlemen, the State of River Nile Basin Report 2020. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, NILCOM Chair, for having launched the report. I would now like to invite the Master of Ceremonies from Ethiopia. As we said, the next part is the launch of the 6th Nile Basin Development Forum. We are launching it today, and this is a forum that happens every 3 years. So I would like to hand over to Ethiopia, who is going to be the host for this particular forum. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Excellencies, development partners, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tizita from the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Ministry of Water, Irrigation, and Energy. Today, I will be your host for this particular session of the launch of the 6th Nile Basin Development Forum, proudly hosted by Ethiopia. Launched today, it will be going on as webinars for the coming 2 months, from the very 1st of March, going on until April the 28th. It is now my honor to invite over the Deputy Executive Director, Dr. Abdul Karim Said, to proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very much glad to give an overview of the NBDF, the Nile Basin Development Forum. The Nile Basin Development Forum was conceived to follow what used to be the Nile 2002 conferences. Those of you who have been with NBI for quite some time, already. The Nile 2002 conferences brought together, the academics, the research community way before NBI started. And the Nile Basin Development Forum continued after NBI was launched. So the statement of purpose for the NBDF is to serve as a science policy dialogue forum for setting the cooperation agenda for sustainable development of the Nile Basin, especially involving a spectrum of stakeholders from across the Nile Basin as well as beyond. So far, NBI has conducted 5 Nile Basin Development Forums. Usually, as it happens even now, host country, member countries of the NBI volunteer to host NBDF. So the first one was hosted in Ethiopia in 2006 with the theme, The Role of the Nile River in Poverty Reduction and Economic Development. The second one in 2008, hosted by Sudan, Environment and Water Resources Management for Peace, Cooperation in the Nile Basin, was the theme. The third one and the fifth one were hosted by Rwanda in Kigali. The third one in 2011 with the theme Climate Change and its Implications for Sustainable Development and Cooperation in the Nile Basin. Threats, Opportunities in the Nile, to the Nile Cooperation. And the fifth one in 2017 with the theme Investing in Nile Cooperation for a Water Secure Future. And the fourth one was conducted in 2014 in Kenya with the theme Building Sustainable Transboundary Cooperation in a Complex River Basin, Challenges, Lessons, and Prospects. Now we are here for the 6th Nile Basin Development Forum, which is the first virtual forum, I can say, by and large, and with the theme Rethinking Regional Investments in the Nile Basin, basically across water, food, energy, but also integrating environment and climate issues. So the theme I've just said about the theme, maybe I will not spend a lot of time here. Now, rethinking, quite a number of speakers have already said about it, that this is very timely. Why rethinking? Because the investment part of the cooperation was a major agenda at the time. There was a lot of expectations from the countries. That's why the NBI followed what we call subsidiary principle to establish two investment arms. The Nile Equatorial Lake Subsidiary Action Program, headquartered in Kigali, in Rwanda, and then the Eastern Nile Subsidiary Action Program, with its headquarters situated in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. We, as organizers of this NVDF, thought investments are very important. They are vehicles for realizing benefits to the countries. At the same time, given a basin like the Nile, with very complex hydrological, geopolitical situations, investments should not be business as usual. It should have elements right from the initial conceptualization up to implementation. It has to bring quite a number of critical factors on board. That's why this is the experience we have as the NPI. There's a considerable potential in the Nile. However, there is still infrastructure deficit. It has been already said quite by the number of speakers. At the same time, the experience of NBI shows the indispensability of investment that are optimized on basins. We are talking about a basin with 500 million people living in the basin countries, which is likely to double by 2050. Based on the work of NBI, we already see how the water demand is going to grow. And the water availability is not going to grow by that rate. In fact, it might even remain the same, or if you take into account climate change, there is also risk. High variability, and then probably in some areas, again, declining water availability. So for this reason, doing more with less is very important. At the same time, when we think of investments, having a basin with a very complex and water scarce river basin in 11 countries, so we feel incremental investments without basin and sub-basin outlooks have little potential for resulting in mutually beneficial benefits across borders. So that is very important. That we might say in any river basin like that, but in the Nile it's more complex and more critical than probably in many other river basins. So there's a need for diversifying portfolio of the investments across the water, food, energy nexus. So we need to think about diversifying the water supply, even the management options, the infrastructure types, and generating, okay. Based on this, NBI has already generated a number of building blocks, what we call the bricks, for regionally optimized transformative regional investments. The case in point is the strategic assessment by the Nile Basin Initiative Secretariat, where we have to try to look into what are the various options available to the countries through which they can address the growing water demand in a more sustainable manner. So with these observations now, I pose to call them overarching questions, which are going to be explored in the NBDF. Given what we have through NBI achieved over the last 20 years, plus what has been done by a number of actors in the Nile Basin region, how can we leverage what has been achieved over the last more than 20 years and realize regional investments that bring about sustainable benefits to all riparians? That is very important. This is about the content. What kind of investments, where? People talk about comparative advantages or endowments of countries. Our honorable ministers talked about the need to see basin outlook and the need to maximize the endowments of countries. So this is all about what kind of investments, where, in what configuration. That is very important. And this forum is going to provide the avenue for debating that, because we have academicians, we have policymakers, we have quite a number of very knowledgeable people participating in this forum. So this is the time to debate this. The second is the process. We're talking about 11 countries. We're talking about complex, and we're talking about transformative investment. And then we need to have the right process in place. What I mean by process is institutions, policy frameworks, coordination mechanisms. We have a number of actors. Even within a country, we have a number of actors. And across the basin as well, we have a number of actors. So what processes are needed to advance the Nile Basin regional investment agenda? This is very important. So we need to have debate about both. What kind of investments, in what configuration, and then where, and then at the same time, how do we get everybody on board? What I mean by everybody, basically, I don't only mean countries, but also within countries, also all relevant stakeholders should come on board. As the saying goes, leaving no one behind. So when you talk about investments, I know this has been alluded to before. So at least I present investments along what they call the 3 I's. We need to have diversified and optimal infrastructure investment. That is very important because the basin in most of the countries, you will see it in the State of the Basin report. In many of the countries, a lot of basic needs have not been fulfilled yet. And we know water plays a critical role in that. That means in order to reach out to millions of people and meet their needs, infrastructure investments are very important. Because in many of the countries, the water scarcity they have is what we call economic water scarcity. The water is there, but because the infrastructure is not there, people are suffering from the lack of water for food or for energy or even for consumption. So we need to have a big arm of this investment. What we are talking about is to have optimized and diversified infrastructure investments. The second is what we call information. So information is needed not only for planning, but also for managing disasters, for example. So we need to have improved data collecting networks, associated data sharing mechanisms, early warning systems, for example, and then including leveraging the Earth observation information, which is increasingly becoming widely available, even in the public domain, and then becoming also and more cheaper and more precise. So the third part is investing in institutions. That is very important. So talking about cooperation, it cannot be without institutions, without effective institutions. So for this reason, we need to have think about the 3 I's. And the NBDF themes are organized along all the 3. So I have a few questions here. Maybe in the interest of time, I will not go through all of them. These are taken from questions from the various, webinars. So maybe in the interest of time, I will just skip this one. More importantly, now I would like to show you just highlight of how the sessions are organized. So we have, so today we are on 22nd of February. This is a launch. Following the launch, we'll have like a number of streams of webinars under 5 streams or 5 themes, sorry, sub-themes. Water management, we have 9 webinars there. And under environment and wetlands, we have 6 webinars. On water and climate, 4. And transboundary water governance, 5. And water, energy, and food nexus, 5. These are series of seminars, I can say, on virtual seminars, which we run up until 15th of April. Then this will be synthesized into a one session for, all the messages coming out of the webinars. And then we have a 2-day, hopefully the COVID situation will permit, with a 2-day combined or hybrid physical as well as virtual sessions will follow. The first one will be like about 4 panel sessions, which will discuss or debate based on the findings of the webinars. And then finally, with the high-level panel and closing on 30th of April. So the schedules are given already on the website. I'm going to give you the address, but this is roughly the structure of the webinars and the concluding sessions. So the website is there. Please check the website from time to time because the agenda is expected to also be updated. Right now, we don't have very detailed timing there. There will be also added to it. Before I conclude, I'd like to acknowledge all those who have supported or contributed to the preparation of the NBDF. This is, I can say, it's a multi-actor or a multi-group effort with the support of. This event is hosted by the government of Ethiopia, together with the Nile Basin Initiative, and financially supported by the European Union, the German government through GIZ, and the World Bank through SIWA, away from SIWA. Sorry. And member states and our governance, staff members for guidance throughout the preparation. Because of COVID, as you might understand, this event was supposed to have been taken place in October 2020, but it was delayed. So I thank all who have contributed, the NBI team, NBD, all presenters, panelists, speakers. I can say there was very actually large number of contributions came from a number of people. Over 157 papers were submitted to this NBDF. So I'd like to acknowledge, if I forgot anyone, it's just it's my mistake. Acknowledge all the support we have received in the preparation of the NBDF. And this is nearly my last slide, and then I just look forward to your participation and contribution in the deliberations. Thank you very much. Back to you, facilitator.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abdul Karim. Much appreciated. I would now like to invite Nile TAC representative to Kenya, Mr. Chris Juma. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Am I loud enough?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, Mr. Juma. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Session Chair. Thank you very much, Session Chair. NILECOM members, Diplomatic Corps, development partners, fellow TAC members, NBI Secretariat led by the ED, citizens of the Nile Basin, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to present to you reflections of the member states on behalf of my fellow TAC members. And this is what the TAC members have reflected upon. The Nile Basin contains an extraordinarily rich and varied range of ecosystems with mountains, tropical forests, woodlands, savannas, high and low altitude wetlands, arid lands, and deserts. For decades, the Nile Basin people have been facing many complex environmental, social, economic, and political challenges that have made it difficult for the proper management and sustainability of Nile water. Such problems include, among others, disputes and conflict over the control and use of the Nile waters, extreme poverty, food insecurity, droughts, floods, environmental degradation exacerbated by high population growth, inadequate sanitary services, unreliable electricity, water scarcity, etc. The population living within the Nile Basin has enlarged to over 270 million people. The number is expected to grow to over 700 million people by 2030 and over 1 billion people by 2050. Rapid population growth and urbanization require urgent and far-reaching responses in the form of large investments, capacity and service provision to safeguard the basin's natural resource base, which is essential for achieving water security and sustainable development at large. In our complex basin, there is need for cooperation, continuous learning and sharing in order to ensure sustainable and equitable use and to create and maintain peaceful relations between states and citizens. The sixth NBDF has come at an opportune time when countries are increasing grappling with the challenge of transforming their economies in the face of the aforementioned economic and environmental challenges. Countries are increasingly turning to large infrastructure projects that offer an opportunity to harness more of the river's resources to boost food production, energy output, and other critical sectors. The forum brings together ministers in charge of water, political leaders, decision makers, water resource managers, environmentalists, economists, development partners, academia, and researchers to deliberate on opportunities and challenges of Nile cooperation. Other stakeholders are river basin organizations, regional, continental, and international organizations, civil society, private sector, as well as media practitioners, and to mention also the basin citizens. The theme of the 6th NBDF, that is rethinking regional investments in the Nile Basin with a focus on water, energy, food, environmental sustainability, and climate change mitigation. The choice of the theme is aimed at focusing attention of the citizens and our partners on the role of transboundary investments in transforming regional economies. It is aimed at taking stock of previous attempts at boosting the investment agenda of the countries, deliberating on new, innovative approaches that respond to current and future challenges, and adoption of approaches that are relevant within the current global investment landscape. The countries expect that the 6th NBDF shall continue the tradition of creating communities of people who are well informed, actively engaged in, and promoting Nile cooperation as the only means of achieving sustainable management and development of the shared Nile Basin water resources, as well as addressing shared risks, threats, and challenges across the basin. On behalf of my colleagues, Nile TAC members as representatives of Nile Basin countries, I wish to thank the government of Ethiopia for agreeing to host the 6th NBDF and all partners for your role and support in organizing this forum amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Juma. I would now like to invite, on behalf of development partners, specifically the GIZ EU, Dr. Malta.
Yes, honorable ministers and distinguished participants, thank you very much for inviting me to reflect from the perspective of one of the many partners of NBI. In my case, I'm the head of the Nile programs funded by the German government and the European Union on the NBDF and the themes and program that is in front of us. So why is the NBDF really such an important event? The Nile Basin Development Forum does stand in that long tradition of the Nile 2000 conferences, and these conferences were fundamental to developing the shared vision for the basin and moving towards establishment of the NBI as the first basin-wide platform for dialogue and cooperation. So as partners, we do very much believe that the continued and regular dialogue on the basin's future, encompassing not only the policymakers, but also the wider community of water professionals, non-governmental actors, is really key to keeping this now 22-year-old vision alive. And not only that, but to reinterpret the vision for the needs of our times. And this broader reflection and agenda setting is a key role of the NBDF. It is key for connecting the NBI to the ongoing debates in the basin. And as partners, we are therefore very keen and happy to support this 2021 virtual or semi-virtual edition. And this year's focus is on the question of rethinking regional investments in the Nile Basin. And why is this topic so relevant at this point in time? Much has been said about that today, but allow me to also add my reflection. There's now, as has been discussed today, really a wealth of experience on regionally prepared investments across the basin. But one of the questions that was also raised in the ministerial roundtable is, do we have a comprehensive multi-sector and multi-actor basin-wide framework in place to guide investments from an overarching perspective? A basin planning framework that can provide orientation and direction to the many, many actors that are involved in preparing regionally relevant investments, both at the regional and the national level. So NBI, over the years, has developed many ingredients for such a regional framework. Countries have a clear understanding of the state of the basin and the need for action. The launching of the State of Basin report just minutes ago is witness to that and provides, I think, a very good backdrop to the deliberations of the NBDF over the coming 2 months. And following on to the SOB, the countries through the NBI have in the last years also jointly conducted assessments of the future of the basin's water resources and have gained quite a clear understanding of what the future will likely bring in terms of climate change, development plans of countries, and the risk all of this entails in terms of future water deficits that can result, as Dr. Abdul Karim also just mentioned in his presentation. And many of these studies and assessments that we have been very happy to support from the German EU-funded program over the last years will really also be highlighted and featured in the NBDF program that has just been presented and that we will be engaging in over the next two months. So as one of the storylines that can be identified in the NBDF program, and there are many, and this storyline is one that we are in particular looking forward to, is a discussion of the next steps that will follow on from the State of Basin report and these collaborative assessments that have been conducted. And these are really related also to the ongoing efforts by NBI to translate and consolidate all of these insights into a basin-wide management and investment framework for a water, energy, and food secure future, with the dual purpose of developing the opportunities but also mitigating the risks. And such a framework can help to highlight the levels of investments required both national and regional levels to address the risks that are related to the increased water stress or emerging gaps between water availability and demand resulting from, for example, climate change or future development across the basin, as is coming out of these assessments that will also be presented in the course of the conference. And such a framework, a basin-wide multi-actor framework, can also help the riparian countries to mobilize resources, to adapt the water management systems, e.g. through topics that have been raised, like introduction of enhanced irrigation techniques, transformation from water-demanding crops to more efficient ones, increased desalinization, or improved coordination in the operation of dams. And I think one of the expectations on the NBDF is really to hear more on all these options and experiences and things that work throughout the next 2 months to enrich the evidence that these kind of frameworks can build on moving forward. And to deliver this really very ambitious basin agenda, also a multi-actor coalition is really required. That is brought together by the NBI, but does include also the various RECs, the African Union, regional development banks, as well as international cooperation partners. And all of them have a role to play. And all of them do feature as speakers and panelists in the NBDF program. So I also hope that the NBDF will be a good opportunity to galvanize the broader stakeholder community around the common agenda moving forward. So I'm sure that there are many other storylines in the program for all of the participants to explore. But as a partner of NBDF, we hope and are confident that this forum will provide for lively and insightful debate to guide us all in our actions moving forward. And I would also like to close by thanking everybody who is involved in the preparation of the forum, Ethiopia for hosting the forum, for this, and do hope that we will have a very good and lively event in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Malta. Excellencies, development partners, ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to take this opportunity to invite our guest of honor, His Excellency Dr. Seleshi, Minister of Water, Irrigation and Energy, who unfortunately could not be here with us due to urgent matters elsewhere. On his behalf, will be making a statement, Dr. Abraha, our State Minister here at the Ministry of Water, Irrigation and Energy. Dr. Abraha, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Tizita. Good afternoon, everybody. I wish to apologize for His Excellency, Dr. Engineer Seleshi Bakala, is not able to join us due to urgent government commitment. He sends you all his apology. He's out of Addis for the time being. Excellencies, the Nile members, Excellencies, diplomats, the citizens of the Nile, dear participants. First of all, I would like to express the honor I feel on his behalf of the government of Ethiopia and the Ministry of Water, Irrigation and Energy in hosting this 6th Nile Basin Development Forum. It is my pleasure on his behalf to welcome those of you who are taking part in this virtual meeting through the internet from your respective locations across the world. Let me also express my best wish for and expectation from those science policy dialogues forum to deliver innovative pointers of the way forward for the way we manage and develop this increasing precious common source of we call the Nile. Since the establishment of the Nile Basin Initiative in February 1999, Ethiopia has been at the forefront promoting a permanent rule-based and institutionalized basin-wide cooperations in the interest of realizing our shared visions to achieve sustainable socio-economic development through the equitable utilization of and benefit from the common Nile Basin water resources. It's now becoming evident that continuing business as usual is no longer sustainable. Our current Nile water resource development practice is not informed by whole basin perspective and has not been conducive to those realization of equitable utilizations, particularly by upstream countries. This lack of whole basin orientations does not support the emergence of much needed regionally optimized investment portfolio that enables locating water infrastructures at the most appropriate locations and agriculture production to save water and increasing efficiency. There has been dearth of funding to support regionally significant water infrastructures with potential to confer benefit across borders, such as large-scale water storage, hydropower generation plants, transmission interconnections. In this regard, Ethiopia, on its part, has been striving to address this gap, even under the current constraints mentioned above. A case is in point the GERD. Ethiopia has been tirelessly working towards reaching consensus with our two downstream sister countries, Sudan and Egypt, on the rules and guidelines of the first filling and annual operation of the dam. Despite seemingly interactive challenges, Ethiopia hopes and as ever is committed to conclude agreements on the Renaissance Dam under the AU-led negotiation platform. The point is that such gaps behoove on us to examine the way we do our water resource development. From the foregoing vantage, the term selected for this conference is appropriate and timely. As you all know, the theme of this 6th Nile Basin Development Forum is rethinking regional investment in the Nile Basin for water, food, and energy security. The Nile, a shared resource of 11 riparian countries hosting nearly 500 million people, is a water scarce, finite, fragile rivers. The Nile is being immense pressure from growing demands. That is from growing economics, growing populations, increasing urbanization rates, taking place across the length and breadth of this longest lone river of the world that traverses the largest desert of the world, the Sahara. To make matters worse, the Nile is also highly vulnerable to the inevitable impact of climate change. It is against this constrained context that riparian countries of the Nile are struggling to deliver food, water, and energy to their growing populations. No wonder climate change, food, water, and energy constitutes 4 of the 6 subthemes of the conference, but then this aspiration can be made only and only if the resource is used optimally and efficiently we all have to learn to do more and more with ever-shrinking per capita water availability. We also need to appreciate the fact that the Nile is a life support system, not only for us humans, but also for a wide range of plant and animal species, some of which are unique and endemic to the basin. Hence, the flora and fauna and the ecosystem that support them to have a claim on the Nile. This latter aspect is Nile environment has made into the fifth in the list of your sixth conference chapter. All this will remain mere aspirations and pipe dreams if countries do not choose to cooperate by establishing permanent rule-based governance systems in which all European states takes its duty to take part in. Allow me to congratulate the Nile Basin initiatives, the organizers of this forum, and the timeless and the strategic relevance of the theme chosen, and for the zooming on the most burning 6 issues that will determine how our common resources, the Nile, and how our riparian nations and the citizens will fare in the coming decades. The issues have been laid for the scientists to come out with their findings, studies, and recommendations as to how to address these 6 burning challenges of the basin. I trust national decision makers of the riparian countries, as well as international partners and friends of the Nile, who supports us in so many ways, will find a way to input the findings of this forum in their policy revisions and policy making. Let me conclude by once again wishing you all successful deliberations and outcome of the forum. And on his behalf, I am pleased to announce the official launching of the 6th Nile Basin Development Forum. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Back to you, Tizita.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Dr. Abraha. I would now like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for their kind attention. And I very much look forward to having you all in the next coming 2 months.
Millions of years ago.
I'd also like to concede the floor to the NBI Secretariat. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That brings us to the end of these Nile Day celebrations and the ministerial roundtable, as well as the launch of the NBDF and the State of Basin report. Thank you very much for participating, all of you. We encourage you to go to the link of the NBDF and register for the different webinars as may interest you, and actively participate in the NBDF. Thank you very much. Have a good day.